All right. For those of you that have shown up to this here live show, I appreciate you. Alex Renteria, what's good? Taryn Bullock, what's good? Jaron TV, I see you. Beast FN YouTube, Corey Green, Brandon Reese. All right, so let's get to a few of your questions before I move on to a couple other topics. The first question that I see here, Renteria asks, OU and A&M and the Cotton Bowl. I think it's a definite possibility. Oklahoma would obviously have to win the Big 12 championship game, which means they got to beat Oklahoma State at 7 p.m. on ABC in prime time with College Game Day in tow. To do that, it's only the sixth time in the rivalry in which Oklahoma State has been the higher ranked opponent going into Bedlam. But if you're looking at the rivalry, it ain't been one, right? It's been more of a series. And Lincoln Riley is undefeated as a head coach against Oklahoma State, all right? Now, that said, Texas A&M is the second best team in the SEC with their win against Florida. Florida's going to have an opportunity to play for an SEC championship if they continue to do what they're doing. But knowing that Texas A&M was able to get a win against Florida Kyle Field is not something to thumb your nose at anymore, right? It just sucks that for Ampersand U, they're in the SEC West, and they already took an L to the best team in the SEC, Alabama. Got beat like they stole something, right? It wasn't really close. That said, I could see them getting the Cotton Bowl bid. This is not a year in which the Cotton Bowl is part of the college football playoff, and it would be a rematch of the 2012 Cotton Bowl in which Johnny Manziel destroyed Oklahoma's defense and Mike Stoops at Jerry World. I was at Jerry World for that game, covered the Cotton Bowl all week. This is a lot of fun. I even got a really good feature about Johnny Manziel and Landry Jones being privately coached by George Whitfield, the Quincy Avery of his day at the time. So I definitely think that that's on the calendar. Doc Winston, Boogie getting in here. What's good, dog? Let's get to another question. Hey, RJ, what do you think of Zaven Collins' Tulsa this year? I think when he got his butt chewed out, he started to play good football. Up until then, he'd been playing outstanding football. He's the best player on the defensive side, Group 5, bar none, period. And it's nice to see Hominy, Oklahoma standing up. Tulsa is ranked inside the top 25 for the first time in a decade. That means the last time that Tulsa was ranked, I was in college at Tulsa. I'm 33 damn years old now. It's like I'm Jesus' age. And that's how long I had to wait for my alma mater to be ranked in the top 25. And to do it, they had to do something they had never done in program history. They had to beat two top 25 opponents in the same year. Had never done it before this year. And things are coming up Philip Montgomery in a year in which I expect Philip Montgomery might be getting fired. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen now as Tulsa has a real opportunity to win the American Championship. They are undefeated in the American with their only loss being to beat Oklahoma State. The Cincinnati game was supposed to be played weeks ago. It got canceled and postponed because Cincinnati thought they weren't going to have enough players to play. And they obviously think that they have an opportunity to play for a national championship. And they would love nothing more than to have that come against a Tulsa team that is undefeated in league play. You get to beat them and perhaps win an American championship. And you need the style points, right? If you're Cincinnati, and you need perhaps Notre Dame to catch an L, and you probably need Florida to beat Alabama or Alabama to sun Florida, depending on how things shake out. There's still room for these playoff teams to not come from the Power 5, but I want to get into that a little bit later. Zaven Collins is an absolute dude. Is Notre Dame elite? They seem to be, but I don't begrudge you if you say until they do it in the playoff, I don't care. Because for some people, they were elite in 2018, even as the rest of us were like, I don't know, man, that's a really soft, undefeated Notre Dame team. And then they got just drummed by Clemson 30-3, but Clemson was also one of the best teams in college football history in 2018. It's really difficult to go run the table 15-0. That's why I put LSU up there. And if you're putting that 2018 team up against that LSU team in 2019, you're probably going to look at that Clemson defensive line and say, oh, they're going to eat. They're going to eat. And then you look at LSU's defense, and it was middling. As a matter of fact, I think Oklahoma ranked above them in total defense going into the Peach Bowl. That's how hit and miss the LSU defense was. They gave up 500 yards of offense to Auburn, who played them really closely. So I think Notre Dame is elite because of the way that they beat Clemson and the way that they beat Boston College. Boston College was up 18 over Clemson at one point, 15 at half. Notre Dame was up 15 at half against Boston College, but putting the ball on the ground and making some stupid mistakes. Still was able to win that game 45-31 and did not need any third, fourth quarter heroics to do it. I think Ian Book is coming into his own. I think they found a tailback in Kyron Williams, a redshirt freshman who's outstanding, save just a little bit of, mistakes here and there. They developed their wide receiving core. They can be truly elite. Because I think you need Avery Davis and Javon McKinley to be something that Ben Skoranek is not. But that dude absolutely is a touchdown machine along with Mike Myers. I also really am enthusiastic about their defense. Like, those of you know that I have been on the Kyle Hamilton train for 2 years, going back to when Notre Dame traveled to Athens to play Georgia last year. He is that dude. Like, coming out of the Atlanta area, he is coming out of Marist, I think, one of the really outstanding programs there in Atlanta. He's going to be a first-round pick at safety. He's that good. So is Notre Dame elite? I think they are, but if you don't, I'm fine with that. That's okay. I think they have an opportunity to prove it too by winning an ACC championship in their first and probably only year as a member of a conference in which they would get to have the ultimate trump card of, we did the conference thing one day. We ran the table. We beat everybody that there was to be in the conference and won the conference title because we are Notre Dame, which would be the king flex for a Notre Dame fan. They'd be like, yeah, we did that. Wipe us down. We're that good. Look and see what other questions we got before we move a little bit further ahead. Feel like I skipped one. What up, RJ? None, Brandon. Who do you think South Carolina should hire? It's a very good question, right? Because who I think they should hire versus who they're going to have an opportunity to hire, two very different things. My first phone call as the athletic director at South Carolina is to Clemson University. Please connect me to one Brent Venables, sir. Brent, we got a Brinks truck here. Tell us how much money we need to put in it for you to move just on down the road, stay in the state, and be the head coach of South Carolina. What do you say? That would be my first phone call, right? Because, what Brent Venables has done at Clemson is more remarkable to me than what Dabo Swinney has done at Clemson. Because the book on Brent Venables was he was falling apart, right? He was damaged goods. He got pushed out of Oklahoma, even as he said, I didn't get pushed out of Oklahoma. I decided it was time for a change. When they brought in Mike Stoops and they were supposed to be co-defensive coordinators again, and Brent Venables just decided, I'm going to go to Clemson. And then turns Clemson into a juggernaut, produces Mackenzie Alexander, produces Isaiah Simmons, has all 4 of the defensive linemen on that 2018 team drafted, and 3 get drafted in the first friggin' round. Has developed players at every single position on that defense. They continue to play all sorts of different combinations and be as multiple as anybody in all of college football. And yet there's Brent Venables saying, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm very happy here in Clemson. He gets to see his kid, Jake Venables, play linebacker there because James Skalski is hurt and doesn't seem like he's going to be back for the Florida State game, which ain't really that big a deal because Florida State ain't that good. There are people that are Florida State fans that want Mike Norvell fired already. Yet, I think that perhaps Jake graduating or being close to finishing his career as a football player, maybe college, but also I don't know if he's going to play in the NFL. I don't know about that. That might actually make it easier for Brent Venables to move his family, because that was the thing he said. I don't want to be one of those coaches that moves his family around a lot. I want to be able to stay in one place as much as I possibly can. And Dabo Swinney's like, you can stay for as long as you like, sir. I don't want you going nowhere, no how, for nothing. But I think a South Carolina Gamecock job coming open at this time in Brent Venables' life is something that he would truly consider. So that's who I think they should hire.